Hello and welcome back to my channel where I've taken an old Audi estate and I've turned it into my own DIY supercar. Now on this episode we're going to talk about styling. Now before we get into the styling aspect of my DIY supercar, I think I might have to put it back together again, put all the bits and pieces back onto the car, and also I need an area to work, so I'm going to clear these wiring looms that I removed from a previous episode. This is going to go up in my attic, and the other one. I've got a bit of weight in this. Well, that's better. I've got some space to work. So I'm going to start with putting the interior back together, and then we'll get the side pod put back on. Right, steering wheel is on, the dash is in, and I think that's it for the interior. So now I will put the side skirts back on. Okay, I'm going to put this back on, which is like the side skirt. It's a little bit bigger than a side skirt, to be honest with you. It's like a pod or a nacelle, something like that, because it covers the rear part of the car. Now, when I designed this car, I was thinking ahead, and I was thinking that you know, if I ever finish it, and if I ever build a kit and someone else builds one themselves, and if they end up in an accident, what I wanted to try and do is build a car that was easy and cheap to repair. Now, a lot of these modern supercars, they're made out of composites, you know, fiberglass and carbon fiber. Now, the problem is with those cars is they're sort of laid on top. Now, what I mean is you'll have one body panel that goes on, then there'll be another body panel, and then the roof goes on and all this sort of stuff. So if you've damaged sort of like the lower part of the car, you find that you can't take that panel off without taking other panels, which are usually glued together, and it's a complete nightmare, and it's so expensive it writes the car off. So when I was designing this car, I wanted to be able to remove the panels without disturbing the other panels, if that makes sense. So I'll just show you what I mean. I'm hoping this will show up on camera, but if we take a look here, this is the flange of the roof part of the car. Now the idea is, when I build this pod, let's see if I can slide this in. It's a little bit awkward, if I'm honest with you. Alright, you're going to have to take my word for it. But this pod, part of the pod, slides in to the flange. In other words, you don't have to lift the roof off to get the side pod off. I'm going to have to pull the camera back. This is where I could do with a cameraman, but never mind. I'm going to try and slide this in. I'm hoping that you see it slide into the bodywork here. Lower the door. Oh, give up. It's on. I had to do that off camera. It's just getting a bit silly, you know. I'm trying to set the camera up and then I'm knocking the camera over and all this sort of stuff. Anyway, it's on. and it slides into the car. You don't have to remove the roof panel to remove the side bit there. Okay, right, I think what I'll do now is put on the side air scoop. Now the reason why this was such a pain to fit back onto the chassis is because this is obviously the wooden plug. It's way heavier than the fiberglass version, so you know, much more heavier than it should be. Anyway, let's get this on. So this is the side air intake, and obviously the intercoolers will live behind this, and there's just 6 bolts to hold this in place. Just fit the ECU. Right, with the car all back together again, I can close the rear clamp. Okay, the car's back together again and the doors and clamps are all back down. But that's actually taken me all day. So I'm hungry, it's time for some bacon. So once I've had my bacon, we'll talk about the styling. Right, I've had my bacon, so let's talk about styling. Styling, like beauty, is in the eye of the beholder. Now, I have noticed a few comments from time to time on my YouTube channel that sort of criticise the styling of my car. Now, I'm a professional, so I don't mind a little bit of criticism from time to time. So I would just like to respond to those people who are a little negative to the way that my car looks. Okay. When I started this project years ago, I always knew that the styling would be difficult to achieve. Now you might ask yourself that why am I talking about styling this late in the game of series of videos? Why didn't I start at the very beginning? Well, if you've been following along from the very beginning, you'll know that I had to engineer the car first before I could do the styling. So when I started this project, I had to consider what I was going to achieve. I wanted something strong, reliable, something that was easy to work on, something that was affordable to build. And then there was also the idea that I wanted to turn it into a kit so other people could build it as well. Now don't forget, you're actually building a machine, so the look of the car is a sort of a secondary consideration, especially when you're on a tight budget like I am. And then of course, there's all the regulations. And more. Okay, I'm time traveling again, so that means one thing. I made this episode way too long and filmed way too much, so I'm going to make it a two-parter. So I think I'm going to end this episode here, and in the next episode we're going to talk about the cars that influenced me to design this one, and we'll take a look at some other DIY cars and consider where they may have gone wrong, but we won't laugh, honest. So see you in the next one. Bye for now.